Hello and welcome to Today in Geography, a podcast produced by the Department of Geography, Environment, and Spatial Sciences at Michigan State University. Each episode, we talk with members of our community about their research and interests, and then we spend some time spotlighting events and celebrations that have shaped the field of geography. I'm Nathan Moore, an associate professor in the department, and your host for an engaging exploration of people, places, and stories that shape our world. Today, we're celebrating the initial release of ArcGIS way back on December 27th, 1999. But more about that later in our show. First, I'm joined by Sandhya Sharma, a Ph.D. candidate in our department. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's get to know a little bit about your geospatial journey. How did you get started in using GIS and geography in your life?
To start with, I'd start with forestry, how I came to forestry, and then how I applied it to geography.
Great.
So my dad, he's a forest ranger. So that he's been my inspiration so far. My siblings, they didn't choose this route, but I was so inspired by my dad when I saw him working towards forest. And he was, from the region that I come from, he's one of the very young, and from what I know, one of the only ranger that worked from that field to some in the mountain range. And he would tell me stories about how he would protect the forest, then how they would be conserving wildlife and everything. And that totally inspired me to come to this field.
So this is in northern Nepal, southern Nepal? What part?
So he is from southern Nepal, but he worked he was positioned in the northern Nepal. So it was a huge transition for him, and that's why there were so many stories that he could tell me about the forestry, everything. So that's how I got inspired to be in forestry. But my interest in GIS, it was from an undergrad. GIS was introduced to me as a requirement. I just took it as like a course requirement. And later, when I was doing my field research during my bachelor's thesis, there was an NGO that I was working with, and the focal person, when I was traveling to the field site, he showed me, it was peak fire season in Nepal around April, and then he showed me places where there was blazing fire everywhere, the forests were burning, and I had the first-hand experience of what it looks like from near to the forest, how it impacts forest and the community that live and reside there. So what I realized was, field work is very integral, but if I have to know what's going on in this large landscape, I need to integrate some more of the things, and that's where I realized the importance of GIS and remote sensing for my future prospect, and that led me to again applying for my master's research in forest research institute.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so that was the core of me applying for my master's. I really wanted to do more about GIS and remote sensing and everything, because in undergrad it was basic foundation that I was introduced to. So for me, GIS was just a system, like mapping and visualizing till undergrad. But then for master's, it was like knowing all about the science, why something is happening, what we could do, and everything, the spatial analysis. So I was very lucky to be supervised by one of the professor who was very, very interested in forest fire research.
You can completely name drop.
Yeah.
Please.
So he's Dr. Amit Kumar Verma, and he's the one who set this whole foundation for me. I got to learn a great deal from him, and I always owe this, whatever I know right now, the foundation that I have is all because of him. He would spend hours teaching me after his office hours. We would just send him email, and he would be available there, and he would just sit in he didn't have a lab, but he had his own office room. So I was there, and one of Bhutanese student, we were two students who were working with him, and it would just give us lots of time. So I never realized that professor could be just go out of his way to teach someone this much. So
the fire is not just in the forest, it's in the lab too.
Yeah, so he was very interested, and that interest, when you see someone who is so passionate about something, my passion also got increased. Wow, he knows so much, and he's willing to teach me so much. I need to take all from him. So that was the time when I integrated GIS in my final thesis. I did forest fire hotspot mapping. So it was like we were seeing the forest fire hotspots in Nepal in current scenario. But then along with that, we added some modeling, maximum modeling, and then we also did um, we didn't do field work, but we added climate models to see like how the fire situation go in future climate scenarios. So that's where I integrated GIS with modeling and spatial analysis and everything together. But yeah, ArcPro to visualize and analyze everything.
Okay. And then at some point you decided you want to go and get even more letters added to the end of your name, and you applied to MSU. Can you walk me through what was going through your thoughts at that time?
Main was when I came back to Nepal after my master's, I realized like the more you know, the more there's zeal to know more. Like there's no end to that thing. And I was going through job search and everything, and I realized the positions that I saw, I looked. The first, they required Ph.D. So that was one of the main criteria. And the second was, I was introduced to these GIS technologies, but that was still not very advanced. My skills, I thought that it's not at that level where I can contribute more. I still need to learn more. And those positions required those kind of skills. And I realized, I have learned so much, but I still lack these skills. I don't know how to do these kind of modelings. I don't know how, like, even though I did the forest fire hotspot mapping, I could still integrate more data. It was like always for like the hunger for more. Like, what else could I add more?
How can you make the predictions better?
Better, yeah. So how can I? Since my master's and bachelor's both were in forestry, I think the education system here and back where I studied, it's a little different. The course modules, the whatever I studied, I think the course here are very rigorous and they teach you a lot more. There's more exposure to whatever you learn here than what I learned back in Nepal and India. Not saying that those are not good way how it's set up, but then I find the US system of how the courses are set up, how the courses are taught, a little better than where I came from. So when I saw this, how the PhD course requirements and what I'm going to be learning after coming to MSU, it was like, wow. Because for me, I never learned R back in Nepal.
R is a statistical software.
Yeah, R Studio. So I never learned that. And when I came here, I realized even undergrads know this. And for us, it's already set up courses. Like there are in India and Nepal, you're already given, these are the courses that you'll be taking along your 4 years. And here you choose your courses, right? So these are I want to learn this. So this is the course I'll go for. So you're not just taking any random courses. You're just taking the course that is going to be helpful and applicable for you in your future. But then I had no option to do R like from the university or institute in FRI as well. So master's program also didn't provide any such specific this kind of tools, spatial analysis, how to do, what are the things that you could use. It was just, I think it was just basically just going from simple thing, and it was not going like the trajectory was just flat. And when I came here and when I saw that what things the Michigan University could provide, I was very delighted, and I want to apply here and I want to learn more. And I went through all the professors, and I found Kyla very, very interesting. Her research topics were like forest ecology and remote sensing, and that was very, that was something I was trying to do in that way. In that route, I was trying to integrate more of remote sensing and GIS and do whole predictive map things for Nepal. So, yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me more about like what is your research plan currently? What are you working on?
So I have recently defended my PhD proposal.
Very good.
Yeah, and then my research, just simplifying 3 objectives that I have. The first one, I'm doing a risk map. We are trying to say if plant water stress can be a precursor for like we can know from plant water stress. We can better predict fire from plant water stress. So for that, we are using remote sensing data, eco stress data. It is thermal radiometer data. So it uses, so like visible, in the visible range, we just see things, right? But the radiometer data, it would just emit lights. It shows us the heat. So that's
the eco stress satellite data.
Yeah. So we're using the eco stress satellite data to predict burn severity and see like if few of the variables such as water use efficacy, stress index, and evapotranspiration, if these are if these could better predict the burn severity in Nepal and in different landscapes, in different elevation topography, if these could better predict. And so we could get maps that could be very helpful for management perspective. And then the second part of my research goes on seeing, for example, I just want to add this, that 2021 was one of the most severe fire season in Nepal. We had most number of fires in Nepal in 2021. So my whole analysis is based on that year. We're trying to see what could have happened if we added this predictor variables, could we predict better? And then second one is like we are using a land render model. So we use landside data and land render algorithm to see disturbances from past to now. And we are going to model different kind of disturbances. And we are going to see if the past disturbances has any impact on the future ones, like 2021. If the 2021 fire is just on those patches or those forests or those areas where already past disturbances occurred, or they have any relationship among themselves or not. So second one is that. And the final one is for 2021 fire, we're going to see how much biomass was burned, how much carbon was released, and for that we are using JEDI LiDAR data. So that gives you the vertical structure of the forest, gives you canopy cover, and
how hot the fire might burn.
Yeah.
How quickly it might move through.
Yeah, so all in all, so integrated, it's about mapping, about knowing disturbances, and finally going back to the community, like how much it would cost if this much is burned.
Tell me more about this community part. How does your science help these local communities?
So first of all, my whole study area is in the Chure region of Nepal.
Chure?
Yeah, Chure. So it is also known as Shivalik Range. It extends from India, Nepal, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and it's actually this range is very fragile. It is made up of the deposition, sedimentation of riverbeds, and so those get deposited, and that's how those mountain ranges, hill ranges formed. So it's very fragile, but it is one of the major source of water for all the downstream people, and this area is going through deforestation, degradation, exploitation of resources, such as there is excavation of sand and gravel, so they would just chop down the forest. But now this area is under conservation, but still there are illegal activities going on. Sorry, what is the question?
So how does your fire science, how does it help the local communities?
And there's a lot of fire going on, a forest fire happening in this range for a long time. Like the whole range covers around 23% of the forest, and every year most of the fires, like we just saw, I was doing my literature review, and we saw that most of the fires were concentrated in these regions. So once I have my research developed and my analysis done, I'll have forest fire maps that will help them, that will help the forest fire managers and the district forest officers to know what are the hotspots, where are the hotspots, where do we need to put on more infrastructure to help guide people how to manage their resources in those regions. So yeah,
there's like whole communities living in the forest and living off forest resources, right?
Yep, there are millions of people in that whole range. So yeah,
millions. Wow. Okay. If you could take us on a field trip, like a 3-day journey through one of these areas, what specific things would you show us on your field trip?
There are many I have proposed few field sites for my research study as well, but I still need to dig in deeper for that. But I take you to Bardia National Park. That Bardia National Park is in still southern region of the Nepal, and it is a good habitat for tiger. And if I had to integrate this fire research into tiger studies, and I would take students to the field and show how where we can maintain the habitat, so that if we know these are the fire hotspots, and that fall in the tiger corridors or territory ranges, I'll show that this is how these maps are going to help us define the area, maintain and manage these
build fire breaks,
yeah,
make evacuation routes,
yeah, and also preserve biodiversity and wildlife. So all in all, it's going to, like, the whole mapping and this prediction thing is going to help not just people because once if you have fire there, in the tiger territory, right? The tigers are going to come out of their territory. They are going to land in the human settlements, and they are going to destroy the human settlements. So
It's not good for the tigers.
no, it's not for community and tigers. So from both perspective, I think I'd take them to Bird National Park and show them the whole land on ground scenario of how we could involve GIS in field to help people, to help nature, to help tigers, wildlife, and everything.
Excellent. Tell me a little bit about what you're planning to do after you complete your PhD. Is there a problem out in the world that has caught your attention and you thought, oh, I'd like to work on that in the future?
I want to actually go back to Nepal and work on all the issues that I have been saying. In US, we have more technology and everything. For example, I'll just go back to fire research because I'm so always doing this one. Even though California is such a resource-rich region, like it has all the technology, it has everything that, like possibly US is a most powerful country with all the technology and everything. Like even then, California has fires every year. And then it's very hard to tackle those fires. Like last time we saw as it said, it's because of the lightning ones, the lightning poles, because of it's assumed not actually in the research papers yet, I think.
Oh.
I'm sorry if I'm wrong about that. But yeah, the California fires, it was very hard to tackle those. And there are so many researchers, professors, scientists working on this field. So even in these research-rich regions, there are so many problems. For Nepal, we still lack technical skills, like even for basic GIS and remote sensing, how to integrate data, make maps. So I think I can contribute a lot more in that region if I learn a lot when I'm learning from here, and I take back this knowledge and experience and skills with me back to Nepal. I think I'll be able to contribute a lot.
In the next generation.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. If you could put one geography fact or idea on a billboard for the world to see, what would that idea be? What fires you up about geography?
Could I say? I didn't know. I usually used to just be like a student doing research. Okay, this is given. This, like, for example, it's homework. Go do this. So I never thought critically about anything. But now, after coming to geography, it's all about what, why, where, how. I'm just always trying to link. Even like we had a discussion on food thing, global geography, how food. It was a human geography thing that we discussed once, and we were like, how food in one place is of one kind of significance to one part of people, but is different kind of significance to different people. So it's now after I've come to geography, it's just building more and more. Like it's always the what, why, how, and where question that I come up. I think that's what fires me.
Look at the world with different eyes. That's one of the big geography thing. Do you have something that's really that you love to get obsessed with outside of fire geography and forestry? Is there some other geography thing that gets you really excited? Maybe food?
Yeah, it does. Food. I don't know if it would relate to geography, but in Nepal we have food, like local foods and everything, right? But when I came to US and when I went to the supermarkets, I was shocked, awestruck by the amount of food that they have, and from all around the world. And I could okay, it's from Kenya, it's from like we have India, Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan. We have all kind of food, South American food, everything, and all that in one store. And I still keep going. Okay, this is the section where there is kind of this country's food is here, this country's food, and I have never seen that back in Nepal. So it was. That's still not an obsession, but that was something I was excited and wow, you could get everything here. So that kind of thing that happened to me.
We can get a lot of things here, but we take the food out of the context of the local environment. So sometimes you miss the bigger picture of why these foods are important. Like I think about a lot of people like to have tamales, but that's a Christmas food in Mexico, and yet we'll have tamales at any time. So it's funny for me to watch Americans pick and choose things outside of the context of the bigger picture. Let's say that there's a young student listening to this podcast who wants to get into fire, forestry, geography stuff. What would you recommend to a person like that, how to get started?
Uh, so is the listener from Nepal or is the listener from US? Because
Let's say they're from Michigan.
they're from Michigan. So for them to start as a undergrad or
Undergrad.
as an undergrad, yeah, I have been teaching courses for undergrad. Like I have been taking classes, GIS introductory classes, and I find students here who are exposed to GIS in very early phases of their career, and by the time they're in third year, I don't exactly know the years, what they are called, sophomores. No, yeah. So by the time they're in third year,
Third year, the juniors.
okay, so third year I have had students who are already getting into jobs, and they were so excited about doing, like, when we do the maps and when we are doing our spatial analysis in GIS, they're so excited. They're telling me, I never knew I did this, I could do this, and now I have shifted my plans. I thought I could do that, but now I've shifted to this kind of research. And for someone who's interested in fire, I'd be like, do you know, I just learned this one, the new thing. So I just go to some Sentinel data. I just learned this, that you could just see the fire hotspot, the fire ring boundary from Sentinel data. I'm just showing them, see, this is how you can see fire rings. So I sometimes tend to spark interest in people who are not interested or who are not even in that field by showing what I am interested in. They're like, you can do that? Okay, that's interesting. Maybe I can try that too. So for someone who is from Michigan and who even has a little of interest in spatial analysis or what, where, how, when thing, and want to combine everything and mostly fire research, I think they can start by taking GIS courses. And that's the basic way you can just learn, like basically visualize what is going on, like what's going on in the field. And yeah, GIS courses are the way to go for forest fire research, I would say.
And find someone who gets excited about stuff like you. What's one insight or idea that you hope that listeners remember about you today?
That you always have to go back to your roots. You need to, like, even though I'm here in US and it might probably take me time to go back to Nepal and do whatever I have said, I have this plan and I am deep rooted there. So I have this plan that I'll go back and give it back to my community. So I think even if anyone is listening to me and they are sometimes not hopeful, or sometimes like, maybe I'm not going to leave this place, or maybe I'm just stuck here, just know that if you are rooted there, just have this plan that you just keep working on this thing and one day you can make it. Let's just, like, I'm hoping that I can make it back to Nepal and do something and provide great deal to the community there.
So go and see the world and then bring the world back home.
Yes.
Oh, that's really good. Thank you for taking the time today to sit down with us and discuss your geospatial journey, Sandhya. I know you'll be sticking around to chat with us about the launch of ArcGIS. But first, let's take a moment for a word from our sponsor. Are you interested in utilizing aerial and satellite imagery to see wetlands like never before? Our online course, Interpreting Wetlands and Deepwater Habitats from Aerial Imagery, offered by the MSU OnGeo program, will show you how. This fully on-demand, self-paced online course is taught by experienced professionals. In it, you will learn how to collect geospatial data from a variety of sources and to classify and interpret wetlands and deepwater systems. Whether you work in conservation, environmental planning, GIS, remote sensing, or if you're just simply passionate about ecosystems, this course will give you practical skills that you can apply right away. Ready to map what others can't see? Go to ongeo.msu.edu and enroll today. So this week we're celebrating the initial launch of ArcGIS in 1999. So when I started out doing my first maps using ArcInfo back in the 90s, I actually used an old light table, which we were discussing before the show. And the technology has really changed a lot. When I say ArcGIS, what does that mean to you today?
For me, it's data management, analysis, and everything in one platform. So what I like when I came to this field and when I read about stuffs about ArcGIS back in days, it was fragmented, right? So it's, for me, it's now, it's everything in one integrated platform. It's not fragmented, and ArcGIS is now adding more stuff. Like we have Python codes integrated in ArcGIS itself. So it's more of like I can do anything with ArcGIS, be it forest fire research, be it public health research, or anything.
Geography?
Yeah, anything you can think of, we can do it in ArcGIS. That's it.
The big thing that to me with ArcGIS was that suddenly you could make a map easily and make it an effective map because all the layers could stack together so simply. Before it was all paper, and you had to get out like drafting tools like an architect would use. Can you think about some of the things that you do today with ArcGIS that require lots and lots and lots of data?
Yeah, so GIS, we integrate remote sensing in GIS, so the datas are like the data that I'm working with right now, eco-stress data. When I downloaded, it's 4-5 GB, and that's just for one variable. So making maps out of those files, raster data sets, stacking them together, everything, it just takes me maximum of 30 minutes. Not even that. Like, I'm just exaggerating the time frame so that it's like, okay, till 30 minutes. When I remember, we had one class with Dr. Kaila on application of terrestrial remote sensing. And back in days when they had to process these files, they had like huge, the CPU was like this room big, and it was like huge boxes. And we were like so shocked. How did they even for 2 MB, they had this big chunk of disk. So how did they process data? And it was so not accessible to normal people. Back in days, it was just specialist labs. For now, we have MSU has a license for everyone. Like, any student can go and do the ArcGIS and everything online. So it's so accessible right now, not like back in days. So processing is so faster and
easily accessible to pretty much anybody with a minimum amount of training. Yeah. So I feel like with the combination of programming nowadays, as a direct plug into ArcGIS, things have gotten massively better, and it all goes back to that initial launch. I remember in the 90s, computers got really fast for personal computing, and it transformed kind of everything. Well, thank you again, Sandhya, for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
If folks are interested in learning more about your research, where would you direct them?
I'm a part of ERSM Lab.
Can you spell that, please?
ERSAM, ERSM Lab. Our doctor is the main director for that lab, and I work with her. So yeah, they can look up about me and my research in that page.
Okay, great. Thank you. We'll include that information in our show notes. So that's a wrap for this episode. Thanks for listening to Today in Geography from MSU's Department of Geography, Environment, and Spatial Sciences. Be sure to subscribe and share, and join us next time as we continue exploring the people, places, and stories that shape the world around us.